metro area schools, possibly that first day of school. So it was really, really tough. The flash flood warning still in effect for DeKalb, Fulton, and Gwinnett counties. Brookhaven, Sandy Springs, Tucker. These are all areas that saw literally inches of rainfall since midnight. And you can still see, although it is tapering off, you still have rain within that warned area falling. As we mentioned, some spots picking up 2 to 3 inches of rainfall. This is over the last 12 hours, but a lot of that coming during the last few. And so it's really made it tough. The good news is the airport is south of Atlanta, so did not necessarily impact air travel. So that was some great news. Haven't seen any major delays there. Also seeing a flash flood warning for Baldwin and Hancock counties out until 1:30 Eastern time. So that's a pretty long time from now. Just be aware that even if the rain is not still falling in that warned area, you could still be looking at high water on the roadways, but also in those waterways. Taking a look at Birmingham down to Montgomery, over to Meridian and Jackson, a few scattered showers. That's the good news, but we fully expect this zone to continue to be at flood risk during the afternoon hours. Why? Well, we still have a lot of moisture available. Looking at the water vapor imagery, you can pick out very clearly there's the flare up of those showers that developed in the Atlanta area, also not that far off from Athens, but also along the Gulf Coast. That's where we're still seeing those dew points in the 60s and 70s, and with a boundary close by, that's all you need for more showers. So that's exactly what we have in place for today. You get a little disturbance to roll on by. Now you're talking about enhancement of those showers and thunderstorms. So anywhere from additional 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. Wouldn't be surprised to see more, as we saw this morning in the Atlanta area. This again through Sunday. That's a long period of time, but again, it's not out of the question to see that in a day or two. Then we have, again, from today and tomorrow, the threat for showers and thunderstorms. It won't be nonstop in all areas, but the idea is that it is very much present in the forecast straight on through the end of the week without that boundary kind of coming on through. So we've got to look at that type of flooding and the rainfall, but we also have our eyes, of course, on the tropics, which all eyes right now for many of us, Invest 99L. So I want to bring in Dr. Greg Postel to kind of dig deeper into what we're looking at exactly, because a lot of the models have our little antennas up for at that point as a hurricane. Not that unusual to see so close to land another flare up for these systems and possibly getting strengthening before it does make landfall. Right now it is on the edge, 70-mile-per-hour max wind, still a tropical storm moving to the west at a pretty good clip here, about 13 miles per hour, so 155 miles northeast of that's coastal Mexico. We have now a lot of potential to see a whole lot of rain. We have some tropical storm warnings up, but also the hurricane warnings in purple from down towards Veracruz. Hurricane watch includes Tampico. So if you are in these areas or have family who are vacationing, this is something they need to be aware of. But there's the forecast by early on Thursday, perhaps an 80-mile-per-hour hurricane. So on the lower end, but obviously very impactful, certainly when it comes to the rain, perhaps as much as a foot of rain. Places from the south to the southeast that certainly don't need any more rainfall, and because that we've had so much, we are flash flooding a little bit more easily. But take a look at this. Atlanta, since June 1st, 12.5 inches of rainfall. That's 2+ inches above average. But I want to point out Birmingham. Look at this number right here. 13.1 inches above the average. That is significant considering it's only since June 1st. So there are a lot of spots that are under the gun, not only for flash flood threat, but more rain over the next week. Take a look at this. Next 7 days, I'm going to have a stat for you. It's going to blow your mind. 95% of the southeast could be looking at at least an inch of rain over the next 7 days. So, so many of us. And this represents, this little chunk of map, nearly 16 trillion gallons of water. Try and wrap your mind around. That's a lot of water. So for that reason, we have some flash flood watches posted. We have it from Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Starkville, Jackson to Greenville, over into northern Louisiana. So here's what we're looking at, fine-tuning it towards Jackson area, up 55 and I-20, at least an inch of rainfall here over the next couple days. Similar situation in Birmingham. And as we've seen with these thunderstorms, you could get that in one sitting over a couple of hours. Atlanta metro area, easily 1 to 2 inches of rainfall in parts of the metro over the next few days. So there you go. No chance of a clear day, non-stop, end to end. But obviously, we'll keep an eye on that. And now you know. So it goes, there's a lot that goes into the strength and power of a hurricane. Winds is just one of the things.
Yeah, it's just one of the things. Obviously, water is the biggest killer in all of them, the flash flooding and the storm surge and all that.
And we have that concern with this one.
And we have that concern with this one. Certainly a lot of rain, as it's going to be moving westward into Mexico, very likely tonight, bringing with it perhaps more than a foot of rain in some places with the topography, the mountains, that leads to flash flooding, mudslides. This could be a real problem that way. But right now, it's a tropical storm with winds estimated at 70. I'm not convinced it's a 70-mile-per-hour tropical storm right now.
And you have good reason. We have, the hurricane hunters in there, and they're crisscrossing the storm. So what makes you say maybe not 70 miles per hour?
Because they haven't found 70 miles per hour.
That'll do
it's
it.
that simple. The fastest winds that they've detected using some of their fancy instrumentation is somewhere around 50 knots, 55 miles per hour. But it wouldn't take long for it to get to 70, and perhaps that's why it's there. But the idea is we've got a lot of very tall thunderstorms in and around here. But notice we do not have an eye. These storms have not sort of formed a closed circle around the interior, and so that's one of the reasons why we're not seeing an eye. But going back to your point, Maria, what the hurricane hunters have found swooping in and around Tropical Storm Franklin is peak winds at about 55 miles per hour.
Okay, and again, with this one, it's wind certainly an important factor if it becomes a hurricane or not. It absolutely, as always, going to be the rain.
It is going to be the rain, and watch this sort of simulation of what happens with Franklin crossing the coast somewhere very late tonight, early tomorrow morning, and then bringing a lot of rain between Veracruz and Tampico into interior sections of Mexico. So this could be a flooding problem, absolutely, no doubt about that. Some of the guidance, I'm sure, an underestimate here because it's hard to simulate convection thunderstorm activity, but the idea is a foot of rain certainly moving in to that direction.
And that forward speed and whether it sits there and hangs out for a minute once it makes landfall can also be a huge
there's some pretty tall mountains in here, Maria, and when we get a lot of tropical moisture coming in like that, the extra lift that you get just riding up the mountainside will unload that much more water. So it's going to be a real problem.
And again, that forecast through Friday.
Yeah, now this is, I'm going to move over on the Atlantic side, not get to 99L just yet, but there's an upper level low here. This is not really a surface cyclone, so to speak. It's more of a higher altitude circulation, but it's got some thunderstorms with it moving through the Bahamas, kind of moving in that direction. South Florida, just keep an eye on this thing in case it transforms itself into something that may look like this, which is 99L. All
right, so what are you seeing right now in terms of things that say, yeah, this is somewhat healthy?
99L is a complicated mess. There's an upper level low right in here. You can see all those clouds flying by like that. So the high altitude winds are doing just like that. That is very, very close to 99L, which is actually this piece down here. As long as they're together, 99L is not going to have much of a chance to develop.
All right, we have much more.